Have you ever wanted to know more about the origins and history of your favourite Marvel character? Well, before the internet and YouTube, there was only this. The official Handbook of the Marvel Universe. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Still Only 35 Cents, your weekly dose of vintage comics and collectibles. For this one, we're taking a DeLorean back to the 80s and diving into Marvel's answer to an encyclopedia, the official handbook of the Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition. But before we get started, usual stuff, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and ringing that notification bell for videos just like this one. The official handbook of the Marvel Universe came about back in the early 80s as an idea from Jim Shooter, Marvel's then editor-in-chief, who envisaged a guide detailing statistics much in the manner of those found on the backs of baseball cards. Originally to be titled The Marvel Super Specifications Handbook, Shooter intended the book to be an answer to frequent readers' mail asking technical questions. Shooter appointed Mark Grunwald as the editor of the project, and under Grunwald the project formalised its published name, removing the word specifications because it was too formal, hard to spell and bad for a logo, as well as the prefix super, which Jim Shooter apparently disliked for personal reasons. Instead, they took Marvel Universe, Al Milgram's original intended title for what would later become the Marvel Fanfare series. Under Grunwald's guidance, the project grew in scope to cover all aspects of the Marvel Universe, with him deciding which active characters would be featured. Throughout the various runs of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, each would detail the most significant characters, items and locations in the Marvel Universe, itemising them into individual entries. Each entry would generally consist of a frontal full-body view of the character with these illustrations drawn exclusively for the book. Generally, these would be created by the artist most closely associated with the character. For example, the original entries for Elektra and Bullseye were illustrated by the legendary artist Frank Miller. They would also feature text describing the character's origin, powers and other abilities and unique traits, as well as statistics such as place of birth, former aliases, height, weight, hair and eye colour. Finally, they'd feature examples of the character in action taken directly from the comics themselves. In the 80s through to the early 90s, there are a number of iterations of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe concept. The original edition was launched in 1982 and ran through to 1984 for 15 issues. Initially, the title was only supposed to run for 12 issues, covering active characters, but it got such an enthusiastic response from fans that Grunwald and team extended the original run to 15 issues. This included issue 13 and 14, subtitled Book of the Dead, which featured characters and groups who were at the time believed dead or inactive, as well as issue 15, the Book of Weapons, Hardware and Paraphernalia, which featured technical drawings of Iron Man's armour, Spider-Man's web shooters and other notable characters' equipment. The back of each issue in the series featured a brief appendix giving a one-line listing for major and minor and inactive characters. In the original edition, characters were listed at 1 character per page, although minor characters were sometimes listed at 2 a page, whilst major characters would occasionally receive more than 1 page, and it's worth noting that the original edition opted only to describe the origins of the characters, how they acquired their powers, instead of focusing heavily on detailed explanations on how their powers worked. For the Book of the Dead supplement issues, however, the handbook provided histories for the deceased characters, a trend which was later adopted for the next edition, Deluxe Edition, allowing the entire life and career of the characters to be covered. Interestingly, in a few cases, the handbook even included previously unrevealed information. The original series also featured connecting covers on issue 1 through 12 and 13 to 14, with art by Ed Hannigan and Joe Rubinstein. These would be later adapted into an iconic Marvel Universe poster. Due to the success of the original edition, a new Deluxe Edition was released between 1985 and 1988 and ran for 20 issues, with the last 5 issues of the series featuring an expanded Book of the Dead, cataloguing characters that were believed dead at the time. The Deluxe Edition is the one that most fans remember, as it was distributed more widely at the time. As with the original edition, the series featured interconnecting covers for both the first 15 books, this time with art by John Byrne and Joe Rubinstein, and across the 5 issues of the Book of the Dead with art by Keith Pollard and Joe Rubinstein. The format of the Deluxe Edition changed slightly over the original edition, with every character receiving at least 1 page, whilst the most significant characters such as Captain America or Iron Man could receive up to 3 to 5 pages for their write-ups. Worth also noting that this time, instead of a dedicated Book of Weapons supplement, details were reproduced and updated in their relevant characters' main entries, or in a few cases receiving their own entries. One interesting side note is that some of the entries referenced an Appendix edition. However, this Deluxe Edition Appendix never materialised. The 1985 to 1988 run of Deluxe Edition was also collected in a trade paperback with a series of 10 thicker volumes of 128 pages each. Following on from the Deluxe Edition, in 1989, the official Handbook of the Marvel Universe Update 89 was released, an 8-issue series. This update featured new characters introduced in the books and omitted from the Deluxe Edition, including notable characters like Venom, as well as numerous non-superhero supporting characters, who for the most part had been neglected in the previous editions. The official Handbook of the Marvel Universe Master Edition quickly followed in 1990 through to 1993. This edition was markedly different, with this 36-issue series featuring shrink-wrap packs of hole-punched loose-leaf pages, each featuring a character concentrating on more accurate statistics for the characters and basic information. The edition included approximately 815 character pages, 22 team action sheets featuring each team's lineup, and 7 action sheets featuring information on supporting characters for a hero. For the most part, each character's page offered a full profile of the character's body, front, side and back, with all the images drawn by the same artist, Keith Pollard. These were also meant to be housed within Marvel Universe folders, which were sold separately. So with that, let's take a look at my favourite of the editions, and one of the most popular, the official Handbook of the Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition. So here it is, folks, the official Handbook of the Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition Issue 1, featuring Abomination to Batroc's Brigade. As you can see, a number of different characters featured as well as artists, from John Byrne, Ron Wilson, Dave Cockrum, John Buscema, Paul Smith, Steve Ditko, Walt Simonson, Rich Buckler, Carl Potts, Mike Zeck, Paul Neary, and Elliot R. Brown. So we have Abomination, drawn by John Byrne, Absorbing Man, Adamantium, Aguilar, AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics, Alpha Flight, Alpha Primates, American Eagle, Anaconda, Andromeda, Angar the Screamer, Angel from the X-Men, Annihilus, Ant-Man, Aquarian, Arabian Night, Aragorn, Arcade, Ares, Archon, Armadillo, Armanzola, Asgard. Great maps of the whole of the 9 worlds and Asgard itself, as well as the Asgardians. Asp, the Atlanteans, A Piece on Atlantis, Atalan, the home of the Inhumans, Atuma, Aurora, Avalanche, the Avengers, and the full current lineup and historic lineup. Details on the Avengers compound, as well as the Avengers mansion. The Avengers Quinjet, Boulder, Baron Mordo, Baron Zemo, and Batroc's Brigade, as well as a glossary. And you can see here the part of the connecting covers that once brought all together, you get this amazing poster of all of the characters running to the right. So that's issue 1. Issue 2 featured Beast to Clea. Beast, Beetle, Belasco, Beta Ray Bill, Binary, Black Bolt, Black Cat, Black Crow, Black King, and Dane Whitman the Black Knight. Blacklash, Black Mamba, Blackout, Black Panther T'Challa, Black Queen, Black Talon, Black Widow in her sexy 80s suit, Blastar, Johnny Blaze, aka Ghost Rider, Blob, Boomerang, Box from Alpha Flight, the Brothers Grimm, Brother Voodoo, Bushmaster and Caliban, Callisto, Cannonball, Captain America, drawn by Mike Zeck himself, Captain America's Hotline, Captain America's Van, my favourite Captain Britain and Captain Marvel, Captain Ultra, Captain Universe and Black Tom Cassidy, Sean Cassidy, aka Banshee, the Celestials, Chief Examiner, Chthon, Circus of Crime, and Clea. Issue 3 featuring Cloak to Dr. Octopus. Cloak with art by Rick Leonardi. Cloud, Cobra, the Collector, Colossus, Constrictor and Contemplator, the Controller, the Corruptor and Corsair, Cottonmouth and Crimson Dynamo, Crossfire, Crusader and Crystal, Cybele, Cyclops, Cypher, aka Doug Ramsey, Dagger, the staff and crew at the Daily Bugle, Daredevil, Darkstar, Dazzler, Death, Deathbird, Deathlock, Death Throws, Death Urge, Demons, Destiny, the Deviants from the Eternals, Diablo, Diamondback and Dr. Samson, Dr. Demonicus, of course, Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom's Castle, Dr. Druid, and Dr. Octopus. Issue 4 features Doctor Strange to Galactus. Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange Sanctum Sanctorium and Dormammu, Dragon Man and Dreadnought, Dreadnought, Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, Despair, Eel, and Ego. The Elders of the Universe, Electro, Elektra, and Enchantress, drawn by Frank Miller and Walt Simonson respectively. The Enclave, Energizer from Power Pack, The Enforcers, The Eternals, Eternity with a very different page design, Falcon, the Fantastic Four, Fenris and Fenris Wolf, Firebird and Firelord, Firestar, the Fixer and Flag Smasher, Fool Killer and Forge. The Forgotten One. Dominic Fortune. Bill Foster, aka Black Goliath. Frankenstein's Monster. Freedom Force and Frogman. Nick Fury. Gaia and Galactus. And we close with Galactus's Heralds. Issue 5 features the Gardener to the Hulk. The Gardener. Gargoyle. G. Alex Power from Power Pack. Gerudo. Gore and Ghost Rider. Gladiator. Glamour. Glorian and the Marvel Gods. Goliath. Gorgon. The Grandmaster. The Grapplers. Graviton and Gremlin. Grey Gargoyle. The original Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardsman. Gypsy Moth. Henry Peter Gyrich. Justin Hammer and Havoc. Hawkeye. As well as details of all his various arrows. And his Sky Cycle. Hela, drawn by Walt Simonson. Heliopolis. The Hellfire Club. The Hellions. Damien Hellstrom, son of Satan. Patsy Walker Hellstrom. Her. Hercules. The High Evolutionary. Hobgoblin. Howard the Duck. And the Hulk. As well as the Hulkbusters. Issue 6 featured the Human Torch through to Ka-Zar. Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. Hydra. Great Jim Steranko splash, featured as one of the action images. Hydro Base. Hydro Man. Bobby Drake Iceman. Icarus from the Eternals. Illusion Animortis. The Imperial Guard. Impossible Man and Impossible Woman. The In-Betweener. The Inhumans. The Interloper. Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. Iron Man in his Silver Centurion suit. Iron Man 2, aka James Rhodes, pre-War Machine days. Jack of Hearts. Jack-O-Lantern. J. Jonah Jameson. John Jameson. Madison Jeffries. The Jester. Rick Jones. Juggernaut. Jennifer Kale. Kang the Conqueror. Carcass and Karma. Karnak. Karnilla and Ka-Zar. Issue 7 featured Khoryphos to Magneto. Khoryphos, Killer Shrike, Hannibal King, The Kingpin, drawn by Frank Miller. Claw, Misty Knight and Coffee from Power Pack. Krang, Kraven the Hunter, the Kree, Crow, Curse, drawn by Walt Simonson, Lava Men, and The Leader, aka Samuel Stearns, Legion from the New Mutants, Lemuria, Lightmaster, Lightspeed from Power Pack and Princess Lalandra, The Living Laser, The Living Tribunal, The Lizard, Lyra and Lockheed, Lockjaw and Loki, drawn by Walt Simonson, Longshot with art by Art Adams, Lord Chaos, Lorelei by Walt Simonson, Machine Man with art by Steve Ditko, Machine Smith, Madam Mask, Madcap and Mad Dog, Madrox and the Mad Thinker, Mad Thinker's Awesome Android and Maelstrom. Maelstrom's Minions. Magia. Magic. Magma. And Magneto. Issue 8 featured Magus to Moleman. Magus, Warlock's father, Makari, Dr. Carl Malus and Manape, Mandarin, and each of Mandarin's rings, the Mandrill, Mandroid, a map of Manhattan in the Marvel Universe, Manslaughter and Man-Thing, as well as a map of Man-Thing's swamp and the nexus of all realities, Mantis, Marina from Alpha Flight, Marvel Girl, aka Jean Grey, Massachusetts Academy, and Jack Power, aka Mass Master of the Power Pack, the Master, Mastermind and Master Order, Master Pandemonium and the Masters of Evil, Maximus, Mayhem and Medusa, Mentalo, Mentor, Mephisto, Merlin, Mesmero, Mirage, Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Fear and Mr. Hyde, Mockingbird, Mordred the Mystic, Mojo, and Moleman. Issue 9 features Molecule Man to Owl, Owen Reese, Molecule Man, Moondragon, Moon Knight, aka Mark Spector, Moonstone and Dr. Michael Morbius, Morgan Le Fay, the Morlocks, Ms. Marvel, aka Sharon Ventura, Mutant Force, Mysterio, Mystique, Namorita and Nebula, Necra, the New Mutants, and Nightcrawler. Manape. Interestingly, there are some bonus pages for corrected versions of the pages which were originally printed with the blue and red plates reversed. Massmaster and Mayhem. Nightmare. Nightshade. Nimrod, the Ultimate Sentinel. Nitro and Nomad. Northstar. Nova, aka Frankie Ray. Nuclo and Odin. Olympia and Olympian Gods. Olympus. Omega Flight. Orca. Overmind. And Owl. Issue 10 featured the Paladin through to the Rhino. Paladin, Fastos, and Rachel Summers as Phoenix. Five pages this time. Plant Man, Pluto, Polaris, the Possessor, Power Man aka Luke Cage, the Power Pack, Primus and Princess Python, Professor X, Charles Xavier, Project Pegasus, Psycho Man, Puck from Alpha Flight, Puma, The Punisher, drawn by Mike Zeck, Puppet Master, Purple Man, Dr. Henry Pym, aka Ant-Man, Pyro and Ka-Zar, Quasimodo, Quicksilver, Radioactive Man, Ramatut, Rattler, the Red Ghost, Red Guardian and Red Ronin, Red Wolf, Reject, and Rhino. Issue 11 featured Richard Rider to Sidewinder. Richard Rider aka Nova, Regellians, Ringmaster, Rocket Raccoon, Rogue, Rom the Space Knight, Ronan the Accuser, The Rose, the Roxxon Oil Company, Sabra and Sabretooth, the Sandman, Sasquatch from Alpha Flight, Savage Land Mutates, the Scarecrow and the Scarlet Witch, Scorpion, Scourge, Secret Empire and the Sentinels, Sentry and the Serpent Society, Circe, Shadowcat with art by Art Adams, Shang-Chi and Shanna the She-Devil, the Shaper of Worlds, Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, the Shi'ar, Shield, Shield uniforms and the Shield flying car, the Shocker and Shooting Star, the Shroud, and Sidewinder. Issue 12 featured Sif to Sunspot. Lady Sif herself, drawn by Walt Simonson. Silvermane, Silver Sable, Silver Samurai, and Norin Rad, the Silver Surfer. The Sinister Syndicate and Sin Eater, Siren, the Skrulls, Slide and the Smart Ship Friday alongside the Snarks, Sons of the Tiger, the Soviet Super Soldiers, the Space Knights alongside the Space Phantom, Speed Demon, Spider-Man, both in his black suit and classic original suit, Spider-Woman and Spiral, Sprite and Spymaster, the Squadron Supreme, Stain International and Star Fox, the Starjammers, Stiltman, Stingray, Storm, the Stranger, Submariner, Subterraneans, Sunder and Sunfire, and Sunspot. Issue 13 featured the Super-Adaptoid to Umar. Super-Adaptoid, the Super Skrull, the Supreme Intelligence, Sutter, Talisman, Taskmaster, Tatterdemalion, Tattletale, aka Franklin Richards, Terminus, Texas Twister, Thena, Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, Thor, Thor's hammer Mjolnir, the Thunder Riders, Thundra, Tiger Shark, Tigra, the Tinkerer, Titania, Titanium Man, Toad, Tomorrow Man, Tower and Trapster, Triton and Tyrannus, the UFOs, Ulik, Ultimatum and Ultron, and Umar. Issue 14 featured Unicorn to Wolverine. Unicorn, the Unimind, Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation, Unus, Ursa Major, Valkyrie, Vanguard, the Vanisher, the Vault, Vermin, Vibranium and Vindicator, Viper, Vision, Volcana, the Vulture, Wakanda, Warlock, the Warriors 3, Wasp, Watchers, Water Wizard, Wendigo, Werewolf, aka Jack Russell, Werewolf by Night, Whirlwind, Emma Frost, aka the White Queen, Willow the Wisp, Colleen Wing, Wyatt Wingfoot, and the Wizard, Wolfsbane from the New Mutants, and to close us out, Wolverine. The last issue, issue 15, closes with Wonder Man, Wood God, Wrecker, Wondergore, X-Factor, the X-Men, with a view of Cerebro, the X-Men Jet and X-Men Mansion, Yellow Claw, Yellow Jacket, Ymir, Zabu and Zeus, Zodiac, Zzzax, and an appendix of alien races. So I hope you enjoyed that deep dive back into the way many of us discovered the history of our favourite Marvel characters back in the 80s. Which of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe editions did you own? And what was your favourite? Leave a comment down below to let me know your favourite edition and your favourite characters featured within. We've just launched channel memberships here on Still Only 35 Cents. For just $2.99 US a month, you can join the other price variant members to gain access to exclusive member-only videos and live shows. All the proceeds raised from memberships will be going to the Hero Initiative. And with that, thanks as always for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and make mine Marvel! Don't forget to check out other great videos, as well as follow us on Instagram, Facebook and X. We also host a weekly live stream, the Merry Monday Mail Call Show, every Monday morning at 7:30 AM Australian Eastern Time. Nuff said.